It was about 1888 that it was submitted to Congress. They needed $15,000 to build this complex. It was submitted in like 88, 89, and finally it was the $15,000 was approved. The famed lighthouse architect Carl Leich designed this complex and Pecos Island, and they started in March of 1893. They built the barn, the keeper's quarters, the fog signal building, and a boathouse. It took them all the time till July to do all that, from March to July. It's really impressive to see, the size of these buildings built with basically hand tools. So that they commissioned the light on Thanksgiving Day, November 30th, 1893. 1902, a guy by the name of Louis A. Borchers arrived with his family as the assistant keeper. And the neat thing is he brought his camera with him. And he's taken pictures at the point, but mainly of ships going by. Lighthouse service was here until 1939. 1939, the Coast Guard took over. With the lighthouse service, there was always two lighthouse service members, the keeper and the assistant keeper. And so the building is a duplex. It's a mirror image. So Coast Guard arrives, and two people aren't enough. They need three people. They have an officer in charge, they have an engineer, and they have a seaman. So in the keeper's quarters, on the far side was the officer in charge, and this side was the engineer, and then they had the seaman living upstairs with them. The Coast Guard says, well, that's not fair. The seaman can't have his family. So in the winter of 50-51, they came in and basically gutted this building. Luckily, the far side, the number one unit, as we call it, is still pretty much intact. And so we've got that set up, and you'll be able to go through there and take a look at it. It still has the lath and plaster. We came up with a theme. We agreed with the BLM that 1950 was a good year to, so everything in there should be 1950 or older. If you had walked in there in 1950, that might be what you've seen. In the time that, well, Coast Guard left here in 1974. They automated the light, basically boarded everything up, cut down the flagpole. They were gone, and there was squatters that lived in the buildings. Just people breaking in. The beautiful staircase that was there was vandalized. The Turnpoint Lighthouse Preservation Society that Mike and Margaret formed in 2005. In 2006, is the first year we kind of got things going. Not too much happened. We put a few pictures on the porch out here. We've proposed numerous projects with the Bureau of Land Management. One of the things was we wanted a flagpole to put up, and we submitted our plans, and finally we got an approval to raise the flagpole. We did that on August 12th, 2010. Along the way, 2012, BLM spent a fortune here. These buildings, of course, are loaded with lead paint. And if you're going to open it to the public, you have to do something to mitigate the lead paint. So they encapsulated the lead paint on all the buildings. The one thing they didn't do was the floors. The floors were still, in some places had asbestos tile, other places was just still lead paint. So we proposed to put down like 3/8" plywood with vinyl over it. You can buy this vinyl flooring that looks just like real wood. So we opened that, that's the number one unit on the first floor only, because we hadn't got the second floor done in 2015. Then we got the second floor done for 2016. So we have 4 tours a day at 11:31, 2:30, and 4. The museum opens at 11, and it's open until 4:30. The public is really enjoying it. We get a lot of good feedback. So we're just grateful that this place is, is in as good a shape as it is now.